I don't know if moveset predictions have a big future on this channel because it kinda sounds like FighterZ is done for now. There's no DLC on the horizon and these predictions are fun, but if there's no DLC coming, then they're not predictions anymore. They're just empty wishes. That said, there will definitely be a sequel to FighterZ. It is far too successful to not have a sequel. So we might be looking really far into the future with this one, which is why for the first time I am actually going to include moves from the manga, specifically the Moro arc from Dragon Ball Super. So this is your spoiler warning. You will see stuff from the manga here. I'll avoid talking about plot points as much as I can, so I'm not spoiling any story, but Vegeta does get some new abilities that we'll need to talk about. And you'll see him using those abilities against characters that haven't shown up in the anime yet. And I'm also making this video because it was requested by the lovely folks at Patreon. Every month they are supporting what I do on this channel, and as a little thank you, I make a poll every month where they can decide an upcoming video. This time I asked which character moveset I should make next, and you guessed it, they voted Super Saiyan Blue Evolved Vegeta. A character that I didn't want to make a moveset prediction for at first because his appearance in Super was very short. But since we're looking far into the future, I feel like the manga becomes fair game. So thank you so much to all the patrons out there. This video is for you. Starting with his intro, the best intro I can think for this character is his initial transformation. The first time he attains this form at the Tournament of Power. His aura changes from blue into a darker shade of blue, but unmistakably Vegeta has just reached a new level and he's ready to test out this new power. As for his victory pose, last warning, there will be manga spoilers. Perhaps the biggest move Vegeta learns during the Moro arc is the Forced Spirit Fission. This will definitely be one of his main gimmicks and we'll talk more about it once we reach his specials. But finishing the fight with all that energy gathered in the sky, Vegeta raises his hand and disperses it, returning that energy to the planet from which it came from. And what a cool victory pose. Next, let's get in game. Let's talk about some of his normals. And I'm not gonna spend a lot of time here because Vegeta doesn't really change the way he punches and kicks the opponent. It's not like Ultra Instinct Goku where suddenly Goku's body moves completely different and his fighting style changes to his very core. Vegeta punches and kicks as he always has before, so for the most part we'll see punches and kicks very similar to the existing Vegetas in the roster. Some of his medium and heavy attack buttons might change slightly though. I really like this jumping knee for instance. He has a lot of spinning kicks and punches that I think look really impactful in the manga, and I'd definitely like to see that in an auto combo or a jumping medium attack. But other than that, he's got those normals that you're used to. He's got the double X handle as his jumping heavy, you know, the usual stuff. However, I would love for him to get a dive kick just like Super Saiyan Vegeta. I have no idea why the others don't have it. It's a move that he uses so often, and as Super Saiyan Blue Evolved, it is no exception. Then we have his Ki Blasts, and we're gonna go a bit crazy here. Because Vegeta throws all sorts of Ki Blasts in the anime and manga that were actually cutting out a lot of them, like this open palm Ki Blast flurry, or these thrown Ki Blasts similar to the ones currently in the game. But we're gonna keep some of his cooler, more unique Ki Blasts. For instance, the coolest Ki Blast by far is the one Vegeta throws after attaining a new power when he was training on a different planet that we will not talk about in the comments. Unnecessary spoilers, no need to go there. He doesn't know he's attained this power yet because he was just meditating the whole time, but the first time he shoots a Ki Blast, it suddenly turns into this massive ball of energy. With a single finger, Vegeta shoots this ball that would be even bigger than Z Broly's Ki Blasts, but he would only shoot one at a time, and this would be his Ki Blast button both on the ground and in the air. Next, this Ki Blast actually comes from the Tournament of Power, but it did not show up in the anime. It's manga only. Vegeta was about to get knocked off the stage when suddenly, oh, so that's where Vegeta gets that from. This would be his down special, and I think it could work a little bit like Goku GT's Power Pole, where Vegeta sticks the sword into the ground and flicks himself over the opponent, but if the opponent doesn't block it and gets hit instead, the sword would launch him, similar to how Vegeta works in game right now. And I've got another Ki Blast. This would be his forward special because I love this move so much, even though Vegeta only does it once. Moro is throwing a bunch of stuff at Vegeta, and with a single motion, Vegeta blows all of it up. This is basically Cell's jumping special, but flipped around, where Cell would be on the ground and the explosion would be in the air, so kinda like an anti-air Ki Blast. And that does it for his normals. Let's move on to his specials. Now, we gotta talk about his main gimmick here, the Forced Spirit Fission. In the manga, every time Vegeta attacks, he is draining energy from his opponent and returning it to where it came from. Later in the manga, it is shown that Vegeta can also direct that energy at someone else to give them a power boost. But this energy, it's just that. It's energy, it's power, it's meter in the game. It's not health, it's not an attack, or at least it wasn't used like that in the manga. So in the interest of staying faithful to the source material, here's how it's gonna work. First, we're gonna give him a DP. This is a normal DP. Vegeta explodes in anger, his aura pops, and he blasts the opponent away. Now, whether this hits, gets blocked, or whiffs, Vegeta has now activated Forced Spirit Fission, which will last for a limited period of time. During this time period, every time Vegeta hits the opponent or makes them block an attack, they are gonna lose meter. It has to be a melee attack, projectiles will not count. And while he is hitting the opponent while in this state, that meter that he is draining is gonna start forming a ball of energy in the background, in the actual stage. Getting bigger and bigger, the more meter Vegeta steals. This is already a pretty strong gimmick because you are just fighting as you usually do, but you're getting the added bonus of taking meter from your opponent. That said, to activate it, you have to DP, which is an unsafe move, so it's a nice trade-off. Now that you have that giant ball of energy on the background though, what do you do with it? That's when our next move comes into play. The move's name is a quote from the manga. It's called Take It and Use It. Vegeta throws that energy into an assist, regenerating their cooldown, basically making them ready to fight again, which means that if you're blocking a Vegeta that has stolen some energy off of you, you could be stuck in a block string for a really long time. Not to mention this straight up gets rid of the C assist cooldown, which I'm now realizing it's an idea that I put out there and I cannot take back. Kinda hoping this does not turn into a reality. The light attack version would regenerate the first assist, the medium attack version would regenerate the second, and the heavy attack version with half a bar would regenerate both. And you can keep doing this for as long as there is energy in the sky. That's his main gimmick, something brand new that no other character can do, and Vegeta is not really the type of character to ask others for help, but while trying not to spoil too much, throughout this arc he becomes a character that still wants to fight alone but will go out of his way to help others. Even in the anime, when he attains this power for the first time, when he turns Super Saiyan Blue, he's thinking of the promise he made to Kaba, he's thinking of his family. He no longer just fights for himself, so I think this move is really befitting of this new character trait. And the rest of his specials don't really require a big explanation. After all, this is the best version of Vegeta, the strongest version of Vegeta. Casuals will want to play him, so you gotta give him stuff that is comfortable and easy to pick up. So first of all, a full screen beam. He does this one-handed. Pretty sure this is the Atomic Blast, though it could just be a beam with no name. Works both in the air and on the ground. Pretty straightforward. And then we're also gonna give him a Lariat, but this Lariat is invulnerable to projectiles. And this move is taken from his fight against Toppo in the Tournament of Power. Vegeta is able to blast through his Hakai energy and punch Toppo while bypassing his attack. Since it is projectile invulnerable, we're gonna give it pretty much the same range as Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta's projectile invulnerable Lariat. But this time, because it is Vegeta, you can start a Rekka from this Lariat. Vegeta's always been sort of a rushdown character in the anime. He's always flying straight into the opponent, hitting them with a flurry of attacks, but sometimes he backs off and fills the opponent with ki blasts. Not this Vegeta. I have never seen him so focused on rushdown, so he definitely needs a Rekka to stay in the opponent's face. Hitting the light attack button will go into this flurry of punches, kinda like Gotenks with machine gun punches. This would be your gapless safe option. Medium attack button would go into machine gun kicks. This would have a gap so it could be reflected, but it would also leave you plus on block. And the heavy attack button would have Vegeta hit you with a fast overhead attack that will lead into this beat down cinematic. So it's a 3-step Rekka, and there's no real mix-up. You got an overhead there, but you don't have any lows. You're also not doing left-right mix-up, but you keep your opponent guessing. Because if they just keep blocking, you keep having plus frames. And especially if you have Fission active, you just keep draining their meter. And that's it for his specials. And I know manga readers are asking, what about instant transmission? Didn't he learn that as well? Yes, he did. He used it to get to where the battle was at the time, and immediately said he didn't want to use it again because that wasn't his style. So I don't think he should have it in game. Maybe it could be a part of his intro. He teleports and then transforms. But other than that, I don't think it has anything to do with how the character fights. So let's move on to supers. We're gonna give him 3 supers, 2 of which are fairly straightforward. First, it's his level 1, the Final Flash. He does it a few times in the Tournament of Power, so it's a simple level 1 full screen beam, not much else to say about it. Next is his level 3, which is a manga only move, but it also happens during the Tournament of Power. In fact, he even used it back on the Goku Black arc as well, so I have no idea why the anime hasn't done it yet. The Gamma Burst Flash. It's a big beam, sort of a leveled up Final Flash, but with the inverted hand pose that might remind you of a Gallic gun. Kind of a mix between the two, which makes me respect this move way more. We got a standard level 1 and a standard level 3, so what's left? The final explosion. Vegeta self-detonates just like he did as Majin Vegeta, but this time he's powerful enough to survive the blast. He doesn't walk away unscathed though, so here's how it's gonna work. The super is easy to land, you can put it in any standard combo, and it reaches full screen kinda like the Majin Buu level 1 super. How many bars does it take to pull it off? All of them. Bare minimum 3 bars, maximum 7 bars. It's sort of like hits level 1, where it just spends as many bars as you have. You only need 1 bar to shoot hits gun though, here you would need at least 3, but the damage scales up the more meter you have. It also deals more damage than his standard level 3, but it has a big downside because it also damages Vegeta. And the more bars you have, the more damage Vegeta takes as well. Also, if it doesn't kill your opponent, they will actually stand up before you recover from this. So you don't get any wake up pressure. In fact, the opponent might even start his own pressure. You would be safe, you wouldn't get punished, but you are minus. This is a super that you use to finish someone off. If you want the pressure after a level 3, you use the other super. And even if you're killing, if you happen to be losing the match, if you are at a character disadvantage, it can actually leave you at a bigger disadvantage since Vegeta is also taking that damage. So it's a super that snowballs really well and can easily kill a character, but should only be used in the right conditions. So to summarize, a lot of his normals are similar to other Vegetas with the addition of a few spinning punches and kicks. He's got a variety of unique ki blasts, and then for specials, he has a DP that activates fission and steals meter from a character, which can then be used to refresh your own assists. He's also got a full screen beam and a projectile invulnerable lariat that can chain into a Rekka. And then for his supers, we have the final flash, the gamma burst flash, and of course, the final explosion. And that's the moveset prediction for Vegeta Super Saiyan Blue Evolved. Thank you once again to all the patrons who make these videos possible. If you want to become a patron, click the Patreon icon right now and you'll be able to vote on the next poll. And as always, thank you very much for watching. My name is Globku and I'll see you next time. Bye.